History remembers empires by their conquerors. Rome remembers them by its legions. But among the hundreds of thousands of men who marched under the Aquila, the Roman eagle, one unit struck terror into the hearts of barbarians and fellow Romans alike. They were not just soldiers. They were Caesar's personal hammer. They were Legio X Equestris. Hispania Ulterior, 61 BC, dust and scorching sun. A young, ambitious governor named Gaius Julius Caesar stands atop a ridge overlooking the harsh Iberian highlands. Before him stand thousands of fresh, unproven recruits. They carry the bull standard, the mark of strength tied to Caesar's claim of divine descent from Venus. They were raised to crush mountain rebels, but Caesar saw something more. He forged them with ruthless discipline, constant drill, and an absolute demand for loyalty. When Caesar took command of Transalpine Gaul 3 years later, this was the only full legion ready at his side. In 58 BC, the Germanic warlord Ariovistus offered Caesar a parley. But Ariovistus set a condition. Both leaders could bring only cavalry. He wanted to strip Caesar of his deadly Roman infantry. Caesar didn't trust his Gallic auxiliary horsemen. His solution would give birth to a legend. Caesar orders his Gallic horsemen to hand over their mounts. The raw-boned legionaries of the 10th step forward, strapping on armor and mounting the horses. Look at that. Caesar promised to make us infantry, but now he knights us. It was a joke referencing the Equites, the elite knightly class of Rome. But from that moment on, they bore the name with deadly pride, Legio X Equestris, the 10th mounted. Sabis River, 57 BC, a brutal, chaotic ambush. The fierce Nervi Confederation bursts from the dark woods along the Sabis River. Roman lines shatter instantly. Centurions fall with spears through their chests. Chaos reigns. Caesar snatches a shield from a falling soldier and plunges into the front line, shouting commands, calling his men by name. On the right flank, holding the line through sheer iron will, stands the 10th Legion. The 10th did not break. While other units faltered, the 10th held the right flank, drove back the Atrebates, and scaled the heights to capture the enemy camp. Realizing Caesar was encircled below, they pivoted and charged back down the hill into the rear of the Nervi. They turned an absolute massacre into a stunning victory. From that day on, whenever the battle line wavered, Caesar put his faith in one unit to fix it. Coast of Britain, 55 BC. Waves crash against steep white cliffs. Roman transports roll on the waves off Dover. On the shore, thousands of painted British warriors scream defiance, shaking spears and riding war chariots into the surf. The Roman infantry hesitate, weighed down by heavy mail and paralyzed by the deep water. Suddenly, a massive figure strides to the bow of the lead ship. It is the Aquilifer, the eagle-bearer of the 10th Legion. He lifts the heavy silver eagle into the sea air. Leap down, fellow soldiers. Unless you wish to betray your eagle to the enemy, I at least will have done my duty to the Republic and to my general. He plunges shoulder deep into the churning water alone. Shamed and electrified, the men of the 10th roar and leap overboard behind him, storming the beach and carving out the first Roman beachhead in Britannia. By 49 BC, Caesar crossed the Rubicon. The Senate fled. Rome plunged into civil war. Caesar was no longer fighting foreign warriors. He was facing Pompey the Great and the veteran armies of the Republic, and the 10th was forced to fight fellow Romans. Plains of Pharsalus, 48 BC. The heat is suffocating. 22,000 men under Caesar face over 45,000 Pompeian troops. Pompey's vast cavalry outnumbers Caesar's horsemen 5 to 1. Pompey's strategy is clear: crush Caesar's right flank with cavalry and sweep his army into dust. Caesar places the 10th Legion on that vulnerable right flank. But behind them, unseen by Pompey, Caesar hides a secret reserve of 6 elite cohorts. Pompey's elite cavalry charges. Caesar gives the signal. The 10th holds fast while the hidden reserve steps forward. Instead of throwing their heavy peeler spears, the legionaries thrust them directly into the faces of the aristocratic horsemen. Panicked, blind, and bleeding, the Pompeian cavalry breaks in utter chaos. The 10th immediately advances, driving into the exposed flank of Pompey's main army. Pharsalus was not won by numbers. It was won by the nerve of men who refused to flinch when thousands of horsemen bore down on them. The 10th broke Pompey's spirit and handed Caesar the Roman world. Yet even the fiercest weapons can turn in your hand. Years of relentless marching, missing pay and endless war brought the 10th to its breaking point. A tense, dangerous standoff outside Rome, 46 BC. The veterans of the 10th have mutinied. They surround Caesar's tribunal, weapons in hand, demanding their back pay and immediate discharge. Caesar ascends the platform alone, unarmed, unafraid. He looks at the battle-scarred men who had bled for him from Britain to Egypt. "High discharge you go, quirites." Not comilitones, comrades. He called them quirites, citizens, civilians. In a single word, he stripped them of their glory, their identity, and their bond with him. Silence falls over the camp. Tears stream down the faces of hardened killers. They fall to their knees, begging to be punished, begging to be taken back as his soldiers. Caesar forgives them. And at the Battle of Munda in 45 BC, when the line was breaking against Pompey's sons in the bloodiest melee of the war, Caesar dismounted, took up a shield, and marched to the front of the 10th. Inspired by their leader, the 10th charged with animal fury, shattering the enemy's left flank and securing Caesar's absolute victory. When Caesar was assassinated on the Ides of March in 44 BC, the 10th lost its son, but the legacy of the legion was too valuable to die. Battle of Actium, 31 BC. Warships burn on the blue waters of the Ionian Sea. Following Caesar's death, the 10th had been reformed and fought under Mark Antony. But at Actium, Octavian, Caesar's adopted heir, defeats Antony and takes control of the Roman world. Octavian took control of the legendary legion, but their disloyalty in fighting for Antony could not be ignored. Octavian stripped them of their glorious title. Equestris was erased from the imperial rolls. He merged the survivors with other units, renaming them Legio X Gemina, the twin 10th. The Equestris was dead. So why do historians consider Legio X Equestris the most feared legion in Roman history? See, it wasn't just their weapons or armor. Other legions had the same gladius and same scutum. What made the 10th feared was their psychological dominance. First, absolute discipline under chaos. At the Sabes and Pharsalus, when formations shattered around them, the 10th adjusted tactically on the fly without breaking stride. Second, unrivaled loyalty. They fought for Caesar not out of obligation to Rome, but out of personal devotion to a commander who fought in the mud beside them. Third, tactical flexibility. From acting as makeshift cavalry in Gaul to spear-thrusting anti-cavalry at Pharsalus, they adapted instantly to any threat. To enemy tribes, the arrival of the 10th meant total subjugation. To Caesar's Roman rivals, the sight of the bull standard on the opposite hill meant their cause was already lost. They were the ultimate expression of the Roman war machine, disciplined, relentless, and bound by blood to the greatest military genius of the ancient world.